Stomping time!
Okay, so today I guess we're starting with Battletoads on the arcade. You can see the coins are being set by the shuffler here. Um, I guess it's not going to show a demo because I've already put a coin in. Uh, so zip because you can't usually play them in. Actually, I think any of Battletoads you can play. So Pimple is Pimple's kidnapped in Battletoads NES. Zips is kidnapped in Battle Maniacs. This is closer to a traditional beat 'em up than other Battletoads games. People kind of think that Battletoads is. I'm pretty sure I've said this to a lot of people, but people tend to think that Battletoads is a beat 'em up because the first level is a beat 'em up and that's the only one they play. It's more like a Donkey Kong style gimmick platformer that just happens to have beat 'em up levels. Yeah, a whole lot of encoding overloaded. Let me let me see if I can turn those down a little. Not sure what profile is, but I feel like if it says high, that's not good for my purposes. So I'm going to turn that down to main. Back to the Donpachi. I think in this one, basically, if you tap the button, you get a wider shot, which is better for uh, generally better for regular enemies because it tends to clear a wider area. Those dodges were completely by accident. But if you hold the button, you get this laser, which has more attack power, so it's better for bosses and stronger enemies.
Your mission starts now. Are you ready?
The name of the game has to do with beads, which I think is supposed to be kind of a dual joke, where it's your enemies are like both your enemies are like bees. Can I not use this vehicle? Your enemies are like bees that are attacking you in a big swarm, and also you're like a bee that's attacking in a swarm, something like that. I'm not a hockey expert. Uh, this one I think has surprising, considering that Metal Slug only gave you the one tank in the first game. This one starts off with a surprising vehicle variety. And also, I learned recently, Metal Slug was originally not even supposed to be a like a human run and gun. It was meant to be a totally vehicle-based game. But they just felt that they just figured afterwards that having a human character is basically more endearing to the audience. Oh, I'm going to pause it for a second since I got hit. I got a phone call last time, which annoyed me, so I'm just going to. I have another landline upstairs, which is going to take that call, but I just don't want to hear it. Phone down here. So This is King of the Monsters 2, the arcade version, as opposed to the Genesis one, which I think showed up in this shuffler, this run of the shuffler a little bit earlier. Visually, this is very similar. Obviously, a lot better because on arcade, the Neo Geo specifically. I think the music is also like just higher quality version of the same things. I don't know if there's any original Genesis music off the top of my head. But the big thing is that this is a beat 'em up. You can only play these 3 characters, whereas all the bosses in this are playable in except the final boss. There, I think maybe one more lava something, but generally all the bots in this are playable in the Genesis version. It also I think has a different inputs for special moves, where this one requires charging. The Genesis one just seems to use like Street Fighter style inputs. Just going from me playing now, I'm not that familiar with it. Okay, so we can seem to have a demo. This also has co-op, although they don't have a coin in, so I guess I can't even select it. I think I'm using... I'll just go with the comic guy. The Super Nintendo version is pretty accurate. I don't think it's missing anything major, aside from just voices and such. I got hit there because I was charging my move, and he got up faster. This is Astro Boy: The Omega Factor, which is a treasure beat 'em up. This is personally my favorite treasure game. Compared to other beat 'em ups, well, first off, I should say that like as a Astro Boy game, this I wasn't familiar with Astro Boy, but this completely seems to it's almost like a primer. It's got so many characters, not implemented necessarily in like the gameplay for way, but like it's got a surprisingly involved story for a beat 'em up, which incorporates game mechanics. It's I've never sat for the intro sequence. I'm curious about this, but it's got a bunch of characters from other Osamu Tezuka works, which is kind of related to his own personal style, where he would take a lot of characters from other works and use them in different things. It's called the star system, and more generically, a star system is used, I think, since then to describe any other creator who does that. But as a beat 'em up, it's the big deals are that you have a dash that you can do a lot. You can do it a limited amount of times per jump, but it's invincible while you're moving. Like while you're in the dashing, the actual dash part of the dash. The startup, you're vulnerable. The end after your dash finishes, you're vulnerable. So the game later gets, especially on harder difficulties, gets pretty aggressive. But to compensate, you can avoid a lot of damage if you once you're able to play. And for attacks, that's a little bit simple. Let's just go normal. Yeah, like this is the actual backstory of Astro Boy, but it's pretty serious, despite the cutesy looks. This is based off of a particular adaptation from, I want to say 2003, 2008, something like that. But I actually watched that, and it's a very good series, significantly different than this. Big thing in that series is that Astro Boy is really, his biggest ability is not so much fighting as de-escalation. So a lot of the episodes he avoids turning things into a fight, and he solves the issue, which is, it actually makes it a point of he's impressive not because he's strong, as some people in the show want him to be, but because he's the connection between these two groups, the humans and the robots. Here it's talking about the dash. It's not really necessary for me to read this. I've played through this multiple times, but I'm just kind of going through it slow because that's how a real playthrough would be. Okay, so your punch here. This is actually it's your worst move range-wise, but it comes out pretty fast, and it's in terms of power, it's actually got pretty good outputs. So I think like you're going to probably avoid it early on because it's easier to use other moves. Score, it's talking about score. Score doesn't actually matter in this particular game. He says something about experience, but this doesn't have an experience point system. This finger laser is also a very good move because it's not that weak, and it's quick, and its range comes out across the screen, but you can't do it as rapidly. So I think the punch is more valuable than it initially appears, but it's the one that's harder. Despite being the move that's easiest to execute, it's the one that's perhaps the hardest to learn how to use properly. Well, there's this kick. Mostly the kick is happens automatically after you combo, but can also push his enemies over to the side, which is good for bunching them up so that you can do a punch combo. I think this EX power, I think the maximum varies depending on your difficulty level. And in easy mode, because Treasure is very serious about difficulty modes. In easy mode, your EX meter goes to 99, so you can basically spam supers all you want. So if you've only played the game in easy, and I've heard people, complain the game is too easy because you can do unlimited supers, that's because they probably played in easy mode and they forgot it. Oh, I wasn't listening. They want me to do this. Go off your moves. So the machine gun there is the least used of those special moves, but okay. This is the RPG mechanics, if you will, of the game, where if you meet characters, you get to put in an upgrade. It's kind of underplayed, though. This is a very action-heavy game. And because it's finding characters that infuses your strength, you can't grind. You can't just hit enemies and hope that you'll get stronger and be able to go through the areas. It actually does, especially in higher difficulty modes, start demanding that you play well. Generally, with treasure games, I feel like it's it ends up feeling at the end of the game like a difficulty level ahead of where it was. I'm using normal here because, again, because I think it's kind of a regular playthrough that people might choose. It is pretty basic at the beginning, a little bit on the easier side, and then it shows its teeth towards the end. I don't think I've beat this game on hard yet, not for any good reason. Oh, I say not for any good reason because I was doing it and then my old computer broke down. But not because I'm not comfortable with hard mode or because I had no desire to play it. Okay, let me show off some of the special moves. So that machine gun, there it killed enemies, but the damage is low. Mostly it's for stunning. I upgrade my dash, so now I can kind of use it to stall a little bit. You can see here I like using the kick to group the enemies up. And I think that's kind of what it's meant for. Well, now your other specials. This one's the one that everyone's going to know. This one's a little bit more neat. The big beam is your strongest attack. It's especially for boss fights, it just cuts through them. So you're going to want to spam it, but it's not always realistically possible. You're not invincible while you do it is the big thing. And if you're not playing on easy, you obviously don't have unlimited EX meter. The other one I used was the EX dash. It's basically like your standard dash, but it's your standard dash, except your fist does damage too. It's useful because you can attack while being invincible as per your normal dash. So if there's a bunch of threatening stuff, you can attack it while you're sliding through it, basically. This is another thing that Treasure does in a lot of games, but it shows up a lot in this, where they stretch content out by using a lot of, by creating variety using, like little tech tricks like, increasing or decreasing the sizes of enemies. So when enemies are big, they have more health. I think they might have more damage. If they're small, they're harder to hit. This is an area that I feel is entirely built to reward you for learning how to kick, because you can just kick enemies right down this hole. Your attacks kind of smoothly glide into each other like that. I don't really pay attention to this, but you can sometimes see a multiple next to your score. Um, that's, I think, just if you combo more, you juggle enemies, you get more points. So SimCity, I just got the idea of having it shuffle if your population goes down, which I thought wouldn't be too bad because your population kind of waxes and wanes in this game as it is. I did put in a feature into the shuffler to give you not totally limited money, so you don't run out and have absolutely nothing to do. It doesn't look like it's a demo, so let's just get going. Hard is, I think, would be better for our purposes here. Let's go here. Maybe. So what's going on here is you see my money isn't dropping below 100. That's supposed to give me basically free reign over what to do with my money. Or rather, basically make it so that I can always do a little something. Even if it's just, slap down parks. Thankfully, I have a population now. It's supposed to shuffle when my population goes down. So it's basically treating my population as if it's health. I'm hoping it just drops on its own. Let me turn the speed up. Normally it goes up and down a little bit. Yeah, despite my money being 100 and my I can't always spend on things that cost exactly 100, which is kind of weird. I don't know why this game's like this. But parks, I can do whatever I want. So for example, I can do something like this, and my money doesn't go down. Let's turn the game speed all the way up. I don't know if these all these parks might actually be helping my population. Maybe they are. People are like, wow, you've planted so many trees. Let's go live there. Should my population go above 800? Okay, there we go. That's what I was waiting for. Did we get Super Dodgeball after we reset? I guess we did. I do know it showed up before, so I'm not going to go through the intro again. I always like to repeat. Is it Naco too? Is that what they call it? So I don't think any of those are specific characters. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. How did I do that? Oops. Oh, I could do like Street Fighter-esque motions too. That's cool. Oh, that was me not being prepared. I think that's fine. We'll see if other people complain, I guess. Adding grace to the shuffler, so rapid shuffles don't happen as often, is relatively easy. This one's pretty bad though. Final zone, because there I didn't even really have a chance to move. Gyrus was another one that I think we found was like super easy. I mean, I guess, oh, there's always a bit of adjusting to the controls in this. I feel like I should put in issue reports, because I was thinking if we can make it set the shuffler also loads a config for config for your controls according to the game that you selected. That might make things a lot easier to adjust, especially for Genesis games, because I think Genesis isn't that consistent typically with which button is to jump, which button is to attack. Maybe people who grew up more with the Genesis than I did would say that it is, but at least that's what I've heard from other people who have run the shuffler. So with those, I'm more concerned about adjusting the controls if possible to what I think is correct. and what's appropriate for the 8-bit bill I'm using, which is a more Super Nintendo style layout. Or technically a PlayStation layout, but that's built off of the Super Nintendo layout. I'm trying to decide if I want to intentionally take a hit to shuffle onto something else. But I feel like I also would like to beat some of these games in the shuffler if I could. Within the time limit, that is. I'm just gonna check. Sorry, I was curious if retro achievements had started up, but it seems to. It says it's on. I'll put my trust in it for now. Oh, there we go. We got an achievement. We're getting perfect. And presumably for getting perfect, I'm still not seeing the actual achievement messages for whatever reason. On the bottom right are your super shots, which actually are quite powerful compared to your regular one. So they're very nice to save for later in the game where you get some very nasty bosses. Because that can cut them down quite a bit. But this game is fairly generous with those. So like if you use them all and you die, you get a free one. It always starts you off with at least one super shot. This boss, along with the this like four gate boss, along with the one that's like a Venus flytrap looking thing, the one that looks like the I want to say Mandragora, the one that looks like the Zelda boss with multiple mouths, the Zelda 1 boss. Those are kind of the general purpose bosses in this game. You fight them, usually one variant of them, in every level. And I think roughly every other level, every other planet, you fight a generic boss, something like that. There's a decent amount of bosses in this for what it is. Definitely more than I think the arcade version. But you know, it's not so so extensive as to have every single world have its own unique boss. This is the guy who shuffled me before. I'm trying to learn to the center this time. Before I just kind of let it happen, because yeah, he gets very close to the edge, and I can't see if it's going to attack me or not. Let's use one of our super shots. I don't think it's good against this thing, because you have to hit every one of its pods. It's not just doing a lot of damage to it. Usually I don't beat that without losing a life. What was I saying? I was basically saying there's a decent amount of bosses in this, but it still doesn't have a new boss every level. think in the arcade version, this is why I used the NES version instead of the arcade version. In the arcade version, you go inward through the solar system until you hit Earth, and then Earth is the final boss. I don't even know if there's a final, I don't even remember if there's like a particularly special final boss, but that's the end of the game after you complete Earth. In this, you keep going, and you go deeper into the solar system, and there's more content in there. And I think most of the bosses past there are unique. But you can see this one's a repeat from a few levels ago. This is one of the two major repeated bosses. Oops. Carelessness. So this one is called SD Gundam Sangokushi Rainbow Tairiku Senki. I'm sure I completely mangled that. But basically it's Sangokushi is 3 kingdoms, which here I don't think refers to the like Chinese history 3 kingdoms. It's just the story in this story they have 3 kingdoms. Then it has Rainbow Tairiku. Every country is named after a color, so Tairiku is continent, and Senki is just let's say war. This game I was curious about adding to the shuffler because it's blatantly a Contra clone. I don't think it's an especially good one. It's okay. If you know what you're getting into, you'll have fun. And there's a lot of like cute little Gundam visuals here. I'm embarrassing myself. I don't know what that unit is. It's not a fat uncle. This is okay. That I gotta take note of. It shovels in the intro. London, Rainbow, Ruffles, Crow. All these things that's a shuffling the intro. Typically, those are typically those are going to be things that I really just should have found a value that determines whether the game is playing, but it didn't require me to, so I didn't bother. Oh, I finally thought that was a new game. I think we've seen Gradius III before in the first episode. Yeah. This one's weird. This last option, you choose what you can buy here from the power up purchase. One is lose all your power ups. One is speed down. This last one is get full options. So the get full options are just way better. But the other ones have, I think, niche uses, so they're technically not bad. Although they feel bad because you're losing power-ups.
Laser. Speed up. Missile.
Oh man, my missile button is in a bad place. So, using Super Nintendo notation, my shot button is B, and my missile button is X. So they're on opposite sides of the controller, and they feel horrible to press at the same time. Whoa. So I'm going to, I think, give up hope on missiles being good. And I'm going to focus on trying to get myself an option.
Multiple.
Oh. Multiple. There's a slight difference between the options and multiple. I thought the multiple was multiple was like Lord Raptors. Oh. Here, if I recall, I got too close and then getting meleeed by those crabs.
Heavy machine gun. Okay. Super grenade.
So you can see I can go down or I can go up. Those can lead me to different paths. That's the big addition to Metal Slug 3.
Thank you.
Although, like, I'm sure most of the sprite work in these games is native. These are not low quality sequels in the slightest. This water section is pretty cool as far as water sections go. Aiming is a little harder, but mostly they just give you more directions in the movement.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to be a little trickier than last time. Okay. See, here's the problem with being underwater. You don't have a good... You still mostly attack horizontally. Went pretty well. These volcanoes are going to be difficult to avoid, though. Maybe I sat there and studied the pattern, but I don't think I'm going to. This is Shadow Force. I believe this is one that Polterghost suggested. I'm not too familiar with it, but it seems like it's a basically Final Fight style beat 'em up. Oh, it's my tech notes. I didn't really notice. Uh, So that there's the Double Dragon people doing Final Fight, more or less. They might have something interesting to do with it in that case, but because they're also one of the foundational members of the beat 'em up genre, but we'll see how it goes. Keep walking backward? Is that a thing in this game? Maybe if you're defending, you can walk back. It looks like it looks like it's not coupling during the intro, though. That's good to see. Let's wait for at most one more of these before we start getting going. This is another one that feels like it's got kind of like a Go Nagai vibe to me. Where like some of your characters are just monsters. You got like two kind of generally hero-y looking characters, and then you got this like werewolf, and I thought I was only gonna do one, right? Let's go with Coyote's kind of the one that I feel with most of, but let's go with Tengu. There are difference if you do it in different orders, I don't know. If there are special moves in this, I don't really know them. Yeah, you can't hold the button to walk backward. It's interesting. Let's check to see if which one of my buttons will jump. I suspected that would have been X, and it is. Oh, I'm sure I don't need to explain this one to many people. This is Super Smash Bros. On the N64. I don't have this implemented that well. I have a one-player mode working because it also uses memory addresses that change depending on what you're doing. I thought of submitting to Arcade Pit the question of which one of these is these characters that's pulled out of the chest in the intro, but it's actually random, I think. There is a demo in this, which I think happens if I let it wait for a second. Yeah, here we go. And this one is kind of spoils you on the fact that Luigi is a character in the game. In theory, I think the implementation I have will stop working if you have 999 damage because it's just checking if your percentage increased. But at the same time, I feel like that's super unlikely that you'll get hit like that and survive. Even getting to 999 damage is pretty much a feat, right? I think I saw out of the corner of my eye we got a new viewer, if that's actually a person. Just to let you know, I'm just watching the demo to see if there's any issue that shows up during it. And then we'll get started with the game. I think it's reasonably likely that I'll shuffle early in this one. Oh, I didn't know that actually plays through a match. It looks like, okay, that's nice. Although I shouldn't be surprised. It's not shuffling when player 1 gets damaged, but again, the values are very weird in this game, so... Okay. To the point that now I'm hoping that it doesn't screw this up. That's good. They're just thinking that I should pick a character that isn't in any of the games playing elsewhere. Oh. One thing when I'm playing with this Go controller is I don't know. Hard to tell where your buttons are on an N64 controller. Oh, this one's gonna suck.
Welcome to the fight power.
I played the PC version of this a lot as a kid. Unfortunately. The Genesis version is significantly different. But it's bad in its own special way. I have no idea how to make it shuffle well. This is a game called the Cliffhanger Edward Randy. It's one of the best games by Data East, supposedly, according to the people who work at Data East. It's kind of like a cinematic Indiana Jones platformer-y thing. I don't know how it plays, aside from the fact that it's got the weirdest health system I've seen, in that your health is your score. Yeah, this is two-player, but I don't know who the second player is supposed to be, because if the first player is Edward Randy, and the second player just seems to be Edward Randy, when I looked up the story, it has no mention of him having like a twin brother or something. So, if you have two Edward Randys, I guess. And that seemed fine. Yeah, your score doubles as your... Oh, I think it's on time. So you can see my health started at 3,000, but it's already up to 310, and then it dropped. The way that I have it working is that when it stops dropping, it shuffles. This is another one that Poltergeist suggested that I'm not familiar with. Though it seems pretty cool. This is the one stealth game I think in this list. Bonanza Brothers. It's a Sega game, I want to say. Um, basically, it's a heist thing. For some reason, it's got this like very goofy. I don't know how to describe it. Like a wooden doll visual style. Like everything is like super. hmm, I don't think minimalist is accurate because it's a lot more animated than it needs to be, but it's animated through all the characters being like super simple. You can see this is the co-op thing. You can't just kill enemies. They they get for one thing they get stunned instead of killed, and the other thing is that it's a stealth thing. If they notice you, they get much more aggressive. I guess the clue thing, yeah, just good. Oh, we don't need the training. No, we've already been doing this for an hour. So we got to get all the treasures, and you can see in this map, the map in the middle where they are. That was a bad move, but at least I covered from it. No harm, no foul, I guess. I don't know if he can find me from here. Hitting enemies with the door is especially satisfying. But after we get the treasure, we can escape. There's some of the treasure on that floor. I think enemies can go up the stairs. Oh. Yeah, stairs are a little hazardous. This is a super cool vehicle. But I think like the intensity in this is really nice. Even compared to Metal Slug, I feel like this is pretty over the top. That particular tank was good at there are a lot of people to rescue in this. They really went with a more is more kind of a policy. Oops. I realized too late that the option was there, so they made me grab it. Oh wait, let's see the demo. Too excited. So this was back when Sunsoft was good, but their games are still like very hard. This is one of the first games I implemented actually. I think it's in the working version of the shuffler, uh, or in the main branch of the shuffler, I should say. Um, I guess there's no demo. Oh, the music has a clear ending that's building up to, I guess. No. So this is like feels like a top-down platformer. Uh, you don't move very well. Your attack power isn't very good, but your range is decent, so it does feel okay. It's a very good-looking game. The music is great, which is Sunsoft always delivers. Oh, you don't have a ton of health though. But let's leave it. We're waiting for more money. Maybe going for hard mode is a little unnecessary. Your jump seems so bad in Super Contra, the arcade one. I guess this is R-Type Leo. It's not something from the first session. Because I thought that we had done this already. At the same time, I don't remember seeing the demo. So basically, in traditional R-Type, the way it works is that you've got a attack pod that jumps onto your front. The pod is invincible, so it can absorb attacks. You can launch it forward if you want to position it somewhere. It's got its own shot. It increases your attack power if it's attached to you. The game does a lot of memorization-based stuff where uh, you can attach to your back or your front, but you don't necessarily know the first time around until you memorize the stage which side you want to be on. This incorporates the look, but it's designed more like a Gradius or something where for one thing, this is simpler, I think, where you can shoot it forward, but not. You don't have to worry about patching it behind you. You can just turn around and it's shoot behind. It doesn't block shots. And the levels are more like Twitch action as opposed to you have to know what you're doing in advance. I'm sure I said it last time, but I believe this is another one that was recommended by Polterghost. So why this shmup versus any other, I would have to leave up to them. But it does seem like it's a good one. Does it speed up? Yeah, it is. Sometimes in shmups you can get too fast. I'm not liking this weapon. Seems like it's good for damage, but I'm a little concerned about the brain. Oh, I like this green one. I'm gonna try to stick to green. And I'm gonna avoid speed-ups. No, I can't hold the button down, I have to match it for this one. Oh, it lowers me down to my regular shot if I launch that thing out. So there is a disadvantage to launching it. Okay. I was looking at the meter at the bottom and thought maybe the only disadvantage is that you have to build up meter. It doesn't look like it's the kind of game where I can stack a ton of power-ups and increase my strength. Oh. This is Toro Wada's famous balloon fight. Basically, it's an adaptation of Joust. So yeah, you just have balloons, and you gotta break these people's balloons, who are in, I think, supposed to be Tengu masks, but I always interpret them for the longest time as just guys with big noses and trucker caps, because that's what the sprite reads to me. But their eyes bug out, so you can see that's supposed to be their faces. If our balloon breaks, or if we die in some other way, it should shuffle. Oh. Usually get this. Ooh. I feel like I didn't do that. Take that time. It's not the hardest bonus level. I'm getting achievements, so I guess I haven't played this one before. I don't think I've beaten this game, though. Just because I'm not usually that into, like, old school Atari arcade titles. I think this has in this mode a clear end. I don't think it does in balloon trip mode. I don't know if there's any more enemies you get. I do know that you'll get lightning attacking you from the clouds. There might be other threats that I'm not aware of. Oh, when you stick to the top, you tend to bounce off the top, and it lowers you down enough that someone can hit you and burst your balloon, which is what happened over there. Okay. Last time I tried to go up, and that's meant that I got killed trying to get into this area. That's a power-up. I can press a button, well, change the position of that thing, but I don't think it helps very much. I believe when Biggle added this to the shuffler, he added some gray second because enemies tend to combo you. in this game, what happens a lot of the time is that attacking enemies with a regular attack just sort of primes them, and then you gotta do you finish them off with a super attack. I'm not sure if you're required to, but I think the super attack activates on that. This is Advanced Wars. It's actually, this whole series is basically a Nintendo adapting a Japanese, I want to say largely Japanese exclusive. I think we did get some of them, but a series called Daisen Ryaku. Intelligent Systems wanted to make a Famicom port of it, but they couldn't get the rights, so they instead just asked permission to make their own clone, which ended up being Famicom Wars. And then a few systems later, we end up with Advance Wars, which I think is much more well known outside of Japan. Plays the intro again. So the way this has been set up to work. I'm trying to skip through. There's a mandatory tutorial. I think you need to go through field training to get to campaign. Yeah, you do. You see, there's no campaign. It's just locked until you beat the last mission of field training. Originally, this was set up. I set this up so that when one of your units is fully destroyed, it shuffles. But that meant that it wouldn't shuffle very often. What we've done to make it sort of not pick up just the entire video is I'm not even really reading this. I don't think I've beaten this game, but I've played a lot of I played up until the secret levels, like the extra bonus levels in Famicom Wars, which this is extremely close to, and I've played a little bit of this. Oh, I didn't even notice that she was telling me specifically which moves to make. But I think even in this mode, basically what this is supposed to do is after I finish my turn, it's going to after I finish my turn, it's going to shuffle every single time. So the longer it takes for me to finish a map, the more this game will shuffle. So I want to do this thing quick, and also I want to avoid losing units if possible. Okay. Let's see. For the heavy tank here, I think it's a medium tank. I don't know if there's heavy tanks in this. These remote attacks are a lot better. For hitting it. One, these have high power, and two, this hits like a truck, so I don't want to get near. But it has no melee capabilities, so their rockets I'll just take out. And then the pick I'll take out with mine because I don't have anything else that's good against it. Enemies do counterattack alongside you, so if I didn't blow it up right away, I would have taken damage as well. You can only hold the one. Oh, I could use that because of the responsibility. Okay, no big deal. You can't totally avoid damage in this game because when you get hit, so does your... When you hit the enemy, you get hit as well. So this is a timed challenge. You see the clock counting down. So it doesn't really matter if I go for points or just go directly for the power pellets. Whoa. Whoa, that was... I don't know the ghost behaviors off by heart. I don't actually even really know if this game has the same ghost behaviors as the original arcade game does. Ooh. That looked like a much smarter move than it was. Now they're recovering pretty fast. Because this is a short game, it gets faster very quickly. But you see we have 8 lives and 2 minutes left, so normal game's not that bad. Sorry, I was looking at the clock. I did get hit though, so that's fine. Oh, sometimes it's hard to avoid getting ganged up in this one. Next is Windjammers. Might finish this in the in his yearly damage shuffler. So it should be fine. I think there might be a super niche case that we gotta fix for scoring, but like if you tie and then you tie again or something. But even if that was the case, I think the only reason I know is because it came up sometime, and I might have talked it over with Gargoyle, who did implement some solutions in the situations that showed up. This lady here on the left, according to an interview with Data East, she's based off some originally a porn actress who was, I guess, popular at the time, but then she went on to do some like interesting writing, I believe. Like I feel like it would be dismissive to call her just a porn actress. I didn't really know about curve shots. I never sat through that whole thing. Also, my Shiranui from Fatal Fury is in part influenced by the same person. Just for trivia's sake. Oh, that was careless of me. I'm trying to get super off. Generally, that game is not really over the top in difficulty. It's pretty consistent. This is Maju, Aeon Genesis called it King of Demons. I think King of Demon Beasts is technically more accurate. Yeah, whatever. This is usually compared to Castlevania. It's just a good uh, horror-themed action platformer deal. This one I don't have any special solutions for. There's a little intro bit where he knocks you out, but you don't lose a life. So the way that the shuffler works, or at least the specific implementation I used here, which already existed, when your health runs out completely, it checks if you lost a life instead of assuming that you did. So that happens to fix that. But if I just bumped into the enemy, I actually think it would shuffle. I didn't put any special solution to keep it from shuffling in this cutscene. I already ran through this one too, so this is also one that I don't think will have significant issues. I don't think he stuck to human form, so I'm going to do that just to, you know, try a different scenario. Oops. Otherwise, you would be able to get upgrades as the game goes through. This is Bonk's Revenge, the second Bonk game. I've only played through the first Bonk in full, so I don't know how quickly it improves, but I do quite like the Super Bonk games from what I've seen implementing them in the shuffler. I think eventually the series becomes very good. Okay, so this shuffled in the intro. Here we have Gargoyle Quest 2. This is basically just a more fully realized take on what was happening with the second or the original Gargoyles quest. It doesn't have random battles anymore. It has more upgrades because the game lasts longer, I think. Aside from that, it's almost identical. I should note that Demon's Crest, which is the third Gargoyles quest game, more or less, that's a much deeper change, even though it still has stuff like the gliding, because that does away with the RPG element almost completely. I'm just waiting because it sounds like this is quite a long intro theme, so maybe at the end of it, there's a demo or some other Jack quests. It doesn't sound like there is. Let me just wait. Maybe about 20. No, I don't think there's anything. Good point. I don't know if it's music's from the original, like, Ghosts and Goblins. It feels like the theme of, because I haven't played as much Ghosts and Goblins as I played Gargoyle's Quest. But that feels like the theme of the Gargoyle's Quest series. Only really Demon's Quest doesn't have it. Because Red Armor is it's a generic enemy, at least in the Japanese version. It's only in localization that they call him Firebrand. I'm even talking to people. But because Red Armor is a generic enemy, and the stories don't necessarily follow each other in a very clear way, it's not really. It's really hard to tell if he's the same guy between all three games. It might be three different Red Armors for all we know. This is a tutorial area. I think there's spikes on the bottom. Yeah, there is. So it is technically possible to die. But it's just familiarizing you with how the jumping works. But you can see, we ran out of our bar. They were actually getting us to make full use of that jump there. The sprites in this game are like kind of chunky. I think it's satisfying. But this game feels pretty weighty compared to a lot of NES games, which is not as true for Demon's Crest, I feel. Weird thing where you are relatively powerful, you do have a lot of movement for an NES platformer protagonist. But it's difficult to react to things, so it doesn't feel as you don't feel particularly invincible or anything. This one lets you just hold down the button for rapid fire, which is pretty welcome. Not resisted that for a long time. Case in point, this one has the mashing button. Oh, I think as of last stream, like around half of the games that have been added to the shuffler. What's that? Was that something I did? Was that what caused the shuffle? I checked to see what I wrote down. If I wrote down something for Cyber Lip. Because if I did, maybe that reloading magazine is relevant to it. This is the only thing I really know about Cyber Lip is this one Heinous boss. I want to say this was like the mascot or something. Like it might have been on like some promotional materials. I guess this was supposed to have like an alien sort of vibe, but it feels a little bit sillier than Contra to the art style.
Supercomputer that controls the androids. Hurry to Colony CO5, where the computer is, and wait for further orders. Ready, go!
Oh, actually, sorry, let me just check my notes. No, I don't have anything on Cyber left. Noting that I think it's weird that we had that look like a cutscene right after we shuffled. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Press up and you jump. You jump nearly the full height of the screen.
Look out! Behind you!
Oh, now we can shoot up. I don't think we could do that before. Oh, now our weapons are grenades. This is not a fan of those. Seems like they'd be hard to use. Yeah, this one actually controlled pretty good. Pretty well. Your walking speed is a little slow. This one is Ninja Warriors or Ninja Warriors again, depending on the region. It's basically a remake of the arcade game Ninja Warriors. The plot is weirdly relevant. But basically you are like a killer android sent to assassinate who is very clearly the American president, especially in Ninja Saviors, which is the next remake, the remake of this remake. There you go into like the Oval Office and such, but here it's a little less explicit. But you got an evil president, and you're sent out to assassinate them, and your faction is probably better, but maybe not that much better. You solve the immediate problem at least. But like Natsume was cooking with their action games at this time. Tango Project. At the time, I didn't really appreciate this. It felt a little simplistic to me. Kamaitachi, Kamaitachi. Sorry, I'm just wondering if I'm forgetting my words. But he's very definitively the best, as far as I can tell. He's the slow, powerful guy. He's not that great in this game. I think in the remake they give him more dashes. Kunoichi is the average one. but he's also the face of the game. Like, it's pretty cool. Blocking is very good in this. There's no chip damage. It doesn't slow you down. There's kind of no good reason not to block if you can. It's just a fantastic way of reducing damage. You can even crawl and block. That one gets pretty demanding. It's the sort of game that has infinite continues, so it's balanced around the fact that if you can survive anything, then they can throw anything at you. Oh, I got lost. Here's the shuffler making things more complex. I forgot that I had to go over here to grab the treasure. You see though that you can't permanently destroy enemies in this game. That was very dangerous. I completely lost sight of where I was. I shuffled in. Yeah, now that the games are going, I'm starting to really feel how the shuffler adds some difficulty. When you're going continuously, you keep your context, but when you get shoveled in, you're a little disoriented. Such as, I didn't remember if I had a power or not. But evidently I don't. There's one. No, Kirby's gonna get mad at me. Okay, so here we're nearly at the boss fight at least. I'm trying to decide if I should be using the attack here because I want to get as many stars as I can, so maybe having those 2 blocks down there is going to make it a little bit harder to attack the Poppy Brothers. If I attack the Poppy Brothers too much, then I get moved out of here. But might also grab me. So let's go. Adding spikes to the sides amps up the difficulty a lot. So it does get better as the shuffler game as time goes on, I feel. This is Monster Rancher Hop About. I forget if I said, but Poltergeist, I think, suggested this as a joke, but I enjoyed the joke, so I went through and implemented it anyway. I also just like Monster Rancher, but I'm not going to implement, the raising simulator Monster Rancher into this game or into the shuffler. That seems like it's a little weird for this purpose. Is there an opening demo? Feels like there isn't. That's some big deal. I'm seeing the Suezo. I'm too attached to Suezo. But I skipped this cutscene before, so let's actually watch it. I assume this is based off the anime because all the characters you can play as here and all the ones you see here are part of the party in the anime. It's supposed to like Dino, who was in the first game, was one of your default choices, but is a enemy or civilian there. So this, for some reason, I want to compare it to Monkey Ball. I guess like it has similar energy, but it's like a racing thing where we want to get to the end as fast as possible. We can press up and down to accelerate. We're constantly jumping, which is a little bit weird. I don't really know what a rucksack is. I guess we can get an inventory, like do we get permanent upgrades or something? The trick here for shuffler implementation is that you can actually extend your maximum life, but it only lasts for a level. So I wanted to make sure, because initially how I set up was after the level completed, it thought that you had taken damage from your max life lowering, and it would shuffle, which is what it's supposed to. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't say what this feature is. I'm just gonna save the ones that we have beta. I don't think it's really necessary due to the shuffler basically saving via save state every time we shuffle. So, oh, but here I can show you this heart. This is kind of a level that shows off abilities, but if you get hearts, it sends you faster top. these all do different things. The timer would be nice. I hit timer, my time goes up. Whoa. Seems like the maximum time is 9.99.9. Oh, and I get points for getting extra time. So I'm guessing the special tiles is what this game is all about. I haven't played it too much. That's up. Whoa. That was bad. I don't even think I really needed that. I was hitting it on first. And I guess it's a good thing to check if this is fixed for multiple levels. I guess once a world you get this item. You get an item. This probably goes in the rucksack. Yeah. Silver Peach. Okay, I do remember testing this bar, but I don't think I ever saw if that did anything. But since we're going through levels and linear progression, I don't think we have a choice in the matter, really. I don't know what the weights do. I feel like I've heard people making a big deal of this, but I haven't forgotten it. Maybe here is where it becomes a big deal. That was weird. Oh, those skulls are damaged, so it does get interesting there. Okay, the haunted castle looks like it shuffles in the intro. I think I was not looking at my screen when that happened. But I just noticed that it was on the intro and it didn't have the boot up. So, um, I think when I was doing some minor editing to the video, I did the haunted castle had shown up. But I basically, this is the sister game to the original Castlevania. This is Simon Belmont gets his wife kidnapped. At this point, I guess they were not really sure how silly they wanted this game to be. Oh, that didn't shuffle. Okay. There's something going on with this game. I'm marking it as done for now. That's something I'm gonna have to fix. So I've taken it out of the shoplift now. Jim Power here. It's on easy by default, oh boy. This might be so bad that it's impossible in the shuffler at this point. I'm not 100% sure, but I get the feeling. But this seems like it's based off of Ghosts and Goblins and Contra. basically, it's imitating very hard Japanese action game, but it's not as good at feeling fair when it does it. It also has this very nasty Amiga look. I mean, I'm sure there are good Amiga games, but I suspect that's not one of them. And I don't think it being 3D would save it. It is. That's the thing with a lot of European developers, I feel, of the time, who were like demo scene developers, who were looking at like Japanese games. They were very technically competent. Pin Power it does a lot of things, and it has them all work. But the game design is not really their forte. I'll contrast that against Turrican, which is also a European game. If I've seen the guy's name, I never memorized it. But there's a German developer, I believe it was, who is generally credited for that game. I don't know if it was a hobby project that he did individually before starting a company or something. But he was looking at like Psychonix Oscar and Metroid, I think, and probably Contra and stuff as well. And the only real sin that his games have, and this is a common thing to Amiga stuff, is he likes maze-like levels. But by Super Turrican, it looks like it didn't even really have that anymore. It's just a really good action game with a lot of interesting stage gimmicks and such. I mentioned it because I'm not as opposed to Jim Power, which is visually it's a good imitation to a lot of things like Ghosts and Goblins, at least in still pictures. But the visuals are like too much. They're hard to parse when you're playing, and every step of the game is way harder than it needs to be, and it never feels fair. We're getting close to the halfway mark, so I feel like if we're going to beat any game before we're done the shuffler, because again, I'm only planning on doing this for 2 weeks, maybe 3, as opposed to Smite, who is actually finishing things. But if we're going to beat any game, I feel like it's going to be this. Which I do hope makes it a better block-breaking game than Arkanoid for this purpose, because Arkanoid, yeah, I do feel like I should shuffle in those circumstances. I don't know. I guess I'll at least raise it as a note. Maybe I can make it an option. So another thing with this is that when you drop on this rock, you immediately go on a 45-degree angle to the right every single time. So this is kind of an interesting thing with powers in this game, is that besides the direct value of here's an attack that you have, it can also sometimes compensate a little bit for uh, the control being a little tougher, because this can help you position the ball. Ooh, I could have been a little bit more to the right with that. See, I'm trying to use it on this right corner to more easily get to the left corner, but I need to be a little bit more to the right. Stone is a good power. You can complete things a lot faster. I don't know if it's the best power. I think it's the last. I've only beaten one more sage than this so far in my testing. Oh, but I can't break those blocks. By the seems of it. Those blocks which need to be broken by the inflate attack. Or what do you want to call it. But it looks like these, on the other hand, you need blocks in like the center left there. These ones can be broken by stone, but can't be broken by a regular attack. I get that careless. If I had blocked that, I would have been able to use stone to get that left column, I think. Been very useful there. This is Sky Blazer. Back before Sony was a competitor for Nintendo, David Jaffe of God of War fame actually got his start as a playtester in this game, if I'm not mistaken. But it's removed a bit in localization, at least in the nomenclature. The background is still visible. It's a Hindu-themed game, which is not that common. It's, to me, it reminds me of Demon Crest, not in how it actually plays, but in the vibe of being like a late Super Nintendo game where you have a lot of abilities and high quality visuals. It feels like there might be a demo. This is ended, right? Yeah, there's a demo of some kind. Does this shuffle? Yes, it does. Sideways for shuffle an intro. There's a lot that I need to fix. I'm doing that. If I press up and jump, no. There's nothing for it. My jump is just really bad. The music's good, at least. I was never like the biggest fan of Contra music, but that's seems like one of the better things to be. This is a game called Panorama Cotton. They do have the English patch version with this. Um, Basically, it's a shmup series. The the story gimmick is that you have this little witch here named Cotton, and I'm just adjusting my buttons. but I definitely want you to be on A, Magic on B. B, I guess that's fine. Cauda's thing is that she is I think, kindergartner age witch who is extremely powerful and white out armies of demons by herself. Um, and it's a magical fairy kingdom which is constantly being attacked by demons because it's protected by little artifacts. But these artifacts are also candy, and she's not concerned with saving the kingdom. She's only concerned with the candy, as kindergartners often are. And so she's not really heroic at all. She's just kind of a little chaotic gremlin who can be pointed at the side of good sometimes. Oh, that's my timer. So this is going to be our last game of the day. When we shuffle, uh, I'll be throwing you over to uh, some other streamer. Actually, I guess we haven't started up yet. I should be doing that right now. I'm just opening up with let's see who else is on. And you can hear my computer lagging out because I'm streaming from a laptop. Please forgive me. Oh, Smite's on today. So yeah, I'm gonna give Smite a watch. Okay. Well, if you've been following along, thank you very much. Uh, Thank you to the people watching on YouTube as well. Uh, I'll see you next time. if you've been following along, thank you very much. Thank you to the people